on a podcast, and he knows the Sean Payton Saints Denver system very well offensively. And he said when he watches Bo Nix, he sees somebody that just doesn't, he's not seeing it. He's not seeing the stuff that's open. But it's interesting. Everybody's good at spending somebody else's money. But if you were a GM, and this is what GMs go through. I mean, Cleveland sat down in a room and said, Baker's driving us crazy. We know he's talented. We're going to let him go. They probably regret it now. Minnesota, you know, do we keep Sam? We pay him this. We let him go. Minnesota regrets it. So Stefanski's really smart. Kevin O'Connell's really smart. And they let go of Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold, and now they're Pro Bowl level quarterbacks. The stuff is hard. It's easy when you get somebody on a discount. They're on a rookie contract, you know, or you're spending somebody else's money. But if I said you're the general manager, and knowing that the minute you pay a quarterback big money, the roster will not look the same. Like, for instance, if you paid Caleb Williams $290 million today, new contract, we got to let DJ Moore go. We got to let Joe Thuney go. We can't pay for all of it. Can't get, you got to let, now I got Roma Dunze, and I'll still have Drew Dahlman and Jonah Jackson, but I probably got to let Joe Thuney go. Kansas City had to let Joe Thuney go. With protecting Mahomes, they had to let him go, guard. Okay, so all these things considered. Here are the quarterbacks in the NFL, 25 and under. There's 11. Okay, so if I said you have until the end of the business day today to make a decision, $290, $300 million contract, half of it guaranteed. Who are the three you would take? The easy one is Drake May. Drake May wasn't great last year. He was lousy in the opener against the Raiders, but the last 8-9 weeks, that's a franchise quarterback. Drake May's the easy one. You need 3 total. The next 2 I would take are C.J. Stroud, who's hurt again, and his passer rating the last 2 years is 89. Ain't great. Not really a starter. 89. And the next I would take is Caleb, and his 2 years in the NFL, year and a half, his passer rating hovers around 90. Not great. Okay? So, and even with Ben Johnson, it's like 92 and a half. That's not great. I'd like upper 90s. Okay? So the 3, 25 and under. And for our radio audience, I'll read you the quarterbacks. Jaden Daniels. Okay, I can't. He's hurt for the 4th time, a year and a half in. Jackson Dart. Lives in the blue tent. J.J. McCarthy, obvious reasons. Michael Penix Jr., hurt in college, looks really, really disappointing so far. Brock Purdy, small, hurt again. Mac Jones went 33 of 39 last weekend. Has Brock ever done that? I'm just asking. Cam Ward, who knows? Bryce Young, probably not going to extend him. So you start looking at all these. My 3, one with no hesitation is Drake May. The next 2, C.J. Stroud has a couple of playoff wins, hurt again, 90 passer rating last 2 years. I would re-sign him. And Caleb, because I think with Ben, we're getting a truer version of himself, and it's about a 92 passer rating. But everybody bangs on Bo Nix. Let me remind you of Bo Nix. 2 things I want to remind you of. In the 4th quarter this season, he's basically number 1 at everything. First downs, game-winning drives, total touchdowns, second in yards. Really good in the 4th quarter. For the record, so is Caleb. The second thing is he's durable. He never gets hurt. Go look at that list again. Jackson Dart hurt. Jaden Daniels hurt. Bryce Young hurt. C.J. Stroud hurt. Everybody's hurt. Everybody's banged up. Bo Nix and Caleb Williams and Drake May, they don't get hurt. Sean Payton this week on Bo Nix and speeding up his game internally.
I think it's a plus and a minus. I've said that before. I think one of his great strengths is not taking sacks. And so the clock in his head relative to that sense of urgency. So I think there is a fine line. I think that's a much easier problem to correct than the latter, which is taking the sacks. And historically speaking, has proven to be much more difficult to fix.
Yeah, so he's probably letting go of the ball a step early, not a step late. He's playing a little fast, a little frenetic. But I'm always amazed by people that overlook durability. How many times is Brock Purdy going to be hurt? How many times is Jackson Dart going to go to the blue tent?
You know, this is pretty funny because literally LA, what was it? Friday? I think it was last Friday. Collins was like, the Broncos might draft another quarterback. And now he's like, stop overlooking Bo Nix. You know, his fourth quarter stats are amazing. You know, like was he defending Bo Nix? Or is he ripping B? Because he's saying he'll take Drake May, CJ Stroud, and Caleb Williams. So, obviously not Bo Nix. I'm not interested in having that conversation right now. Maybe I'll make that a separate video, in terms of like, who would you pick? I'm not going to do that right now. I want to focus on the Denver Broncos and Bo Nix more than anything. I do think durability and health does mean something. You know, I don't automatically buy into, okay, just because this quarterback got banged up a couple times, means now that they're injury prone or something like that. I mean, TJ Shaw has had no O-line for 2 years, and, you know, he got concussed against the Broncos. Like, those things just happen, you know, it just is what it is sometimes. But, yeah, I mean, it's just interesting to me. Colin's not really answering the question, is Bo limiting the Broncos' ceiling? I find it interesting what Sean Payton's saying about how his internal clock moves fast. And you know, one of the best things about Bo is not taking the sacks and all of that type of stuff. And we can all see that he is extra sped up, and it is in pretty much any aspect of life or profession. Slowing down is easier than speeding up, right? So it is a better problem to have, that he is kind of just go, and it's just slowing things down. Because when you operate too slowly in the beginning, trying to speed that up, it's just like, and that's what a lot of times people talk about. You're a slow processor. Like you're not seeing things fast enough. And I joked before that, like in my own personal athletic career and just personal life in general, like I'm a very sped up person. And I just, you know, I was joking. I had many coaches that were like, slow down. And it was just like never comfortable for me, honestly. It was just like, no, like I'm better. I'm more comfortable just like, you know, going up. Like the whole like, take a deep breath and then, you know, and it's just like, no, I don't like that actually. Like I like that's not, it's not how I operate. And honestly, I don't know what I would do right now if I was still playing and trying to compete at a high level. Like, I don't know if slowing down would be better for me. I honestly, and I don't know if it's necessarily that way for Bo Nix, but it is, if you're not seeing the field, if you are missing throws, if you are getting the ball out in a way that is obviously not productive. And so that's why, you know, it's so interesting to me. I don't know the answer to this. And I'm sure if you asked 5 different coaches, they'd give you 5 different answers. I don't know if the answer right now at this point of the season, the answer is to try to get Bo to slow down a little bit, to take an extra beat. I don't know. That might be more of like an off-season thing. It might be like, hey, you know what? We got to actually kind of lean into this right now. You like to go quick. You like to go there. I'm going to call plays. I'm going to run plays. I'm going to design plays that operate within that. I also do want you to use your legs more since you are ready to go. You see a lane open, just take off. Just take off. Don't take the hits. I don't want you fighting for every single yard, but that lane, and I made that video kind of discussing that before, you see some, you know, any type of daylight, just take off, just go. I want you, don't care, just go. You see it, rip it, go, just do it. Yeah, maybe you could have made a play. Maybe there could have been like a 30-yard throw, 15-yard throw. It doesn't matter, just take it. We're leaning into that right now at least. Again, it's not a long-term play. It's not the long-term goal, but it's meeting your quarterback where he's at. And that's a big part of coaching and life in general. Meeting them where they're at. You do that in therapy. You do that in medicine. You do that with raising children. Like, you gotta meet them where they're at. Do that in relationships. And so that could be the piece. Or the piece is like, no, we gotta get this right now. Right. Space. Now. Not right now. And I don't know. I love to be able to ask these coaches like, what are your thoughts on this? My gut tells me to meet him where he's at right now. Trying to like, oh, you're gonna go up against the Kansas City Chiefs, right? Now in Spags, we're going to need you to slow down a little bit. We're going to need you to do something that's inherently not comfortable for you right now. I don't think that's the play. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I lean on just do what makes you feel most comfortable right now. And then it's my job, as Sean Payton, the coach, to try to work around that. Right now, in this moment. It's my job how to figure out, okay, this is who you are right now. So let me build around that. Let me build a game plan, a mentality, a play calling. Let me just build around that right now. And I know that this needs to change. This is not our long-term play here, but trying to get you to do something a little bit differently right now. And this, it's one thing if it was earlier on in the season. I think, it's kind of interesting because I wonder if Sean Payton was trying to get him to slow down, and that's how we kind of saw him just kind of like get stuck in that one. The play that I had showed you guys where it was like he could have run, but then he decided to make this throw, but like the throw wasn't there. Like the throw was there, but like he couldn't get his feet set. Like it was just this kind of like short-circuiting like type of moment, and like I could see that being a moment when he's like kind of telling himself, I gotta slow down, I gotta be more patient, and then like he kind of gets like caught. And that's why I think like you don't want to kind of get caught in the middle in that regard. And I'm not saying that play was that, but like it's an example of what that looks like, whether that was the actual cause or not. And that's why I'm just kind of like, well, just lean into it now. Just lean into what you know. Lean into what ultimately makes you the most comfortable. That is really what my conclusion would be right now. That's what I would push. That's what I would encourage. Trying to get this quarterback to change right now in real time? No. That's something that you're working on in practices, off season. That's something that you're drilling. You got the whistle. You're Sean Payton. You're clapping right next to him. Go right. You're not. I don't know if you're doing that in the game. I don't know. Maybe you do that again. Certainly not against the Chiefs, but like you do it against a lower opponent. Maybe when you're a little bit more comfortable. This is why coaches get paid a lot of money, because I think it also depends on how much progress you think you can show in throughout the course of a season and what can be worked on. How uncomfortable is he slowing down? And that's why I'm speaking just from my own direct personal experience. It's very different, obviously, but like I'm just telling you from my direct personal. Slowing down is genuinely uncomfortable for me. It is genuinely uncomfortable for me. Like I said, I had plenty of coaches be like, slow down, and they would grab my body and be like, you need to settle down. And it's just like, I'm not saying they were wrong. I'm just saying it's just not something that you could just do mid-season and be like, you just gotta slow down. And then it's like, oh, that's all I gotta do is just, slow down? It's just, it's an off-season thing. It's a winter workout type of thing. That's what it is. That's what it was for me. And like I said, I'm not Bon Nix. I'm not an NFL quarterback. I'm nowhere near that level. So this isn't me just, talking about myself for the sake of talking about myself. It's just trying to be like, there's an uncomfortableness to it all. And so I just see the value in leaning into it right now. So that's where I'm at. I wonder, I'd have to look back if anyone has any thoughts on this before I try to investigate it further. Do you think there's been a fundamental difference in the play calling, the rhythm, the game plans from last season to this season with Bo Nix? Has there been a greater emphasis on one thing or the other? Like I said, I'd have to think about it more and really try to see like, what's the fundamental difference between this season and last season? Something that I want to think about a little bit further, but I'm curious if anyone else has kind of any thoughts on that. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get into some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here. I absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.